Hello everyone, my name is Cameron and welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be doing the WWE Money in the Bank 2020 review. I need to go shut that light off. Why do I always forget to do this before starting videos? If you guys don't know why I shut that light off, it adds a really weird glare in the background and it distracts me and it kind of covers my face and it's really weird. So, yeah, Money in the Bank was a great pay-per-view. I loved it. The matches were all really good, and yeah. So we start with the first match on the pre-show, Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro. Prediction was Hardy for both. We're not entirely sure why Cesaro is facing Jeff Hardy. I don't know if it was announced on like social media or something as to why, or if there was a video that they showed on social media, but they really didn't give a reason for this other than Cesaro kind of agreeing with Sheamus that Hardy's getting too much attention or some shit like that. I just hope it leads to them reforming the bar if this is the case. It did not tonight. Spoiler alert, it did not tonight. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was really dumb. Instead of having Sheamus face him, they had Cesaro face him. Hardy's in control at the start. Very little ring rust to speak of. Cesaro starts to take control by dumping Hardy onto the barricade. He's not letting up, keeping control over him. Hardy starts to get it back until Cesaro whips him into the ring apron multiple times. Hardy counters with a hip toss to get out of an abdominal stretch. Cesaro gets back up and unloads on Hardy, just fucking constant elbows to the face. Or forearms to the face, sorry. Hardy starts taking control back, already in a lot of pain, not too long into the match. Twist of Fate for a 2 count. Cesaro sets up for the neutralizer. Hardy avoids it. Clothesline for a 2 count by Cesaro. Hardy heads up top after taking control back. Swanton Bomb covers. Hardy wins. 1-0 on predictions, 10 out of 10. It was a great first match back for Hardy, even if him facing Cesaro kind of made no sense. The match ended up being fucking awesome, though. I loved it. Jesse loved it. It was obvious Jeff was going to win. I wish they would have probably put him up against somebody different. So it was kind of less like, oh, hey, you're getting a good guy in Cesaro wasting his time kind of, jobbing out. I'm not going to say jobbing out because it was a great match. Match number 2, the Smackdown Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way match. We have the New Day versus the Miz and Morrison versus the Lucha House Party versus the Forgotten Sons. Predictions, I predicted the New Day and Jesse predicted the Miz and Morrison. I do also want to specify I am going to be covering Raw, what happened on the Raw after Money in the Bank on this video as well, because I have at this point watched Money in the Bank, or Raw as well as Money in the Bank, so I can cover that as well. Kofi and Metalik start the match off. Very fast-paced action as Kofi starts to take control. Metalik starts fighting back. Blake tags in. The Forgotten Sons clear the other competitors off the side. Metalik takes them both down, and Morrison tags in. Spanish Fly to the outside, taking down the other members of the match, which was great. Metalik covers as they go back in and gets a 2 count. Cutler tags himself in. Riker takes Metalik down, getting him set in the corner. Blake tags in and they double team Grand Metalik as Corey says, is Achilles injury some sort of code for video game addiction, Cole, when they were discussing Xavier Woods being injured, which I thought was probably one of the best lines of the night. Forgotten Sons are keeping control, but Metalik sends him into the corner. I don't remember which Forgotten Son he was attacking, apparently. What the hell was on my tongue? Sorry about that. Morrison's back in as Dorado is also tagged in. A couple of quick pin attempts. The Miz comes into the match. Kofi takes control over him. Miz reverses Trouble in Paradise. Cutler and Big E come in. Kingston in. New Day take Cutler down. Kingston covers for a 2 count. Cutler and Blake hit a move on Kingston. Miz is tagged in, hits the Skull Crusher finale. Morrison's then tagged in, covers on Big E for a 2 count. Dorado takes Miz down. Stunner to Morrison. Metalik is legal now. Rana from up top. Metalik takes it to Big E. Dorado tags in. Lucha House Party taking some of the control. A splash by Dorado, then an elbow drop by Metalik. Forgotten Sons break it up. Big E sends the Forgotten Sons outside. Kofi takes down Blake. Cutler takes down Kofi. Riker gets sent to the back after he gets involved against Big E, which makes no sense because it's a Fatal 4-Way match. There's no disqualification. Why is he getting sent to the back? Lucha House Party dive out and take everyone down. Metalik springboards, but Big E catches him. Trouble in Paradise to Dorado. Big ending to Metalik. The New Day win. 2-0 for me, 1-1 for Jesse. 10 out of 10. It was a very good, fast-paced multi-team match, which you don't see a whole lot of, like, fast-paced multi-team matches. Sometimes it's a lot slower. Kofi and E get a bit weird afterwards, but, that's normal for them. Match number 3, R-Truth versus Bobby Lashley. I predicted MVP because it was initially supposed to be MVP. Jesse predicted R-Truth. So the match changed mid-pay-per-view, and I'll explain how it changed in a minute. Which means I got fucked on this. No matter what, I lose on this one. So it's bullshit. R-Truth came out like the fans were still in the crowd. being very odd out there with some talk about balling to MVP. Then Lashley comes out. Why didn't they just do MVP versus R-Truth? R-Truth accidentally slaps Lashley. Lashley starts taking his truth. This is a very massive squash match, and it sucks. Scissor kicks avoided. Spear. Lashley wins. 2-1 for me. 1-2 for Jesse. 0 out of 10. It should have just been R-Truth versus MVP like it was supposed to be. But whatever. The match was just really dumb, and honestly, I don't think it was needed. I don't think MVP versus R-Truth was really needed either, but this match was definitely not needed. And it's setting up for R-Truth, or for MVP to manage Bobby Lashley, it seems. On Raw, Bobby Lashley faced Humberto Carrillo, and he won with a submission, with a full Nelson, surprisingly. And then MVP talked to him afterwards. MVP went out for a 6-man tag match with Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne against R-Truth, Ricochet, and Cedric Alexander. After the match, Bobby Lashley came back down, and him and MVP beat the shit out of R-Truth. So it seems like they're setting up for our MVP to manage Bobby Lashley like he did in TNA, which I kind of like that idea because Bobby Lashley needs a mouthpiece. He's boring as shit to hear. To hear him talk, and it's just not fun to have to deal with Bobby Lashley talking. So, like, if they give him a mouthpiece and it's MVP, I'm not going to complain about it. I hate MVP sometimes. I mean, I love MVP, but I love to hate him at the same time. So if they give Bobby Lashley a mouthpiece like MVP, I'm going to absolutely love it. Next, with the Smackdown Women's Championship match, Bayley versus Sasha Banks. Prediction was Bayley for both. Bayley taunts Tamina, taking it to her as quick as she can, but Tamina doesn't let it go on too long. She starts taking it to Bayley. Sasha's apologizing to Tamina for Bayley touching her face. Bayley attacks Tamina's legs to take control. Tamina struggles as Bayley continues to focus her attacks on the leg, which, I mean, if you're facing a bigger opponent, focus on the legs. Tamina starts to gain control, attacking Bayley in the corner. Superkick gets caught into a knee bar by Bayley, which I thought was really funny, and I even said, what a knee bar, bro. What a knee bar. If you guys don't understand that reference, you probably didn't watch the match with Goldberg and The Undertaker in Saudi Arabia, and you probably haven't heard about Matt Riddle's reactions to that match. Tamina gets the rope. Bayley tries for a Samoan drop, but can't get Tamina up, resulting in Tamina falling on top of Bayley, which I thought was a pretty funny moment. Bayley going wild on Tamina again, trying to keep her down and keep momentum. Bayley splashes water on Tamina's face. Tamina throws her on the apron, starts taking control. The Samoan drop is avoided. Superkick sending Bayley down to the ground. Launches Bayley over the announce table, and Corey asks Cole why he didn't catch her. I swear to God, commentary tonight, or on Sunday, was fucking mint. It was great. Tamina, it's been getting better recently, and I love it. Tamina went for the splash, but Bayley reversed. Samoan drop, and Sasha gets in the ring. Tamina stares her down, and Tamina heads outside to attack her. Samoan drop is reversed into a roll-up, and Bayley wins. 3-1 for me, 2-2 for Jesse, 8 out of 10. Tamina went for another Samoan drop after, but Sasha stopped her. Great match, great showing for Tamina, and I hope to see something more from her in the future. I've never been a huge Tamina fan, but this match was probably the best match I've ever seen Tamina in my life so far, with what I've seen of her. She's great in the ring. I know she's great in the ring. But personally, they just don't give her a whole lot of chance to show how great she is in the ring. Match number 5, the WWE Universal Championship match with Braun Strowman, the champion, versus Bray Wyatt, the challenger. Prediction was Wyatt for both. Even though we kind of knew that Wyatt was probably not going to win this and they were going to set up for The Fiend versus Braun Strowman, we still went for Wyatt because we are not going to predict Braun Strowman to win a fucking match. Ever. Jesse and I think in the time we've been doing this, have never once predicted Braun Strowman to win a match. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure we've never once predicted Braun Strowman to win a match because we don't like Braun Strowman. Braun starts going after Wyatt quick, throwing him into the corner. Wyatt is being devastated. If this is a squash, I'm going to be real fucking pissed. Like, I'm not kidding. If this was a squash match, which luckily it didn't turn out to be a squash match, but had this been a squash match, I'd have been real fucking pissed. Bray gained some control, but Braun shuts it down with a shoulder tackle. Splash in the corner to Bray, does his fucking stupid run around the ring thing, but Bray avoids it, sending Braun over the announce table. Good. I always love watching him look like a fucking retard. Huskus shows up to cheer on Bray. He DDTs Braun on the floor. The rest of the puppets were here at the same moment, ended up showing up as well. Wyatt taking control over Braun, throws him into the steps, starts to have conflicting emotions. Strowman fights back as Bray sets up for Sister Abigail. He then hits it for a 2 count, goes for a second, but Braun reverses it and slams Wyatt down. Wyatt hesitated. He was not sure if he wanted to do it, and then Braun took advantage of that. Splashes in the corner to Wyatt, does his dumb run thing again, sends Wyatt into the barricade. Braun gets up with the mask on after Bray sends him down, hitting his face off the apron. He comes back in, he rips his shirt off and kneels in front of Bray and does this. They then hug. All the puppets are cheering for Braun coming home. He takes the mask off, smashes it, hits the running power slam. This match disappointed me, not going to lie. Strowman wins, 7 out of 10, 2-3 for me, 3-2 for Jesse. I feel like Bray winning would have been better. I just want to say that. It would have been better. But let's hope it's The Fiend coming out this week to set up for Bray to reclaim the title at most likely Extreme Rules. I think Extreme Rules would be the best spot for this. I think Backlash should be Braun versus somebody else to set up for The Fiend attacking him. Like, maybe the next few weeks, just don't have Bray or The Fiend show up. Just, it's not like it's going to be a character that, if he doesn't show up for a few weeks, it's going to lose its mystique or it's going to lose its awesomeness. It's going to be awesome still. So, keep Bray off TV for a few weeks. Backlash, Braun Strowman faces, I don't fucking know, somebody. I don't know who, just somebody. Faces somebody at Backlash, wins, post-match, Braun Strowman attacks him, Braun Strowman's attacked by The Fiend, and it sets up for Extreme Rules to be some insane type of match. Maybe a Firefly Funhouse match. Firefly Funhouse match would work if they feel like doing the cinematic match for it. Which I'm fine with them doing that. If fans are back and they still want to do cinematic matches, I'm all for it. I'm very intrigued. I'm very interested in those cinematic matches, especially like the Firefly Funhouse match. It was great. I loved it. So if they want to set one up for The Fiend versus Braun in Firefly Funhouse, I'd be happy. Or even if it's just Bray versus The Fiend or versus Braun in a Firefly Funhouse match. Either way, I think it's gonna be great. Little cuts of The Fiend added into the broadcast, and then the Smackdown Hacker shows up. Just showed a lot of different clips and a big screen of monitors, like at least 20 of them, with many different people on them. There were some people saying they thought this was going to be one of the Iconics, because I guess it looked like a female's hand, but like it really didn't. It looked like a man's hand. Yes, it was focusing on female tag teams on SmackDown, but it's also showed male tag teams on SmackDown the past few weeks. It's focusing on tag teams in general. It's not just focusing on women's tag teams. I'm very excited for this. I kind of really want to see who this is. I really want it to be Ali, because I think Ali could do pretty good with this gimmick. And I'm excited for it. I thought it was a really... a really good way to kind of bring the Hacker into the show. I thought it would have been really cool if they decided to actually have him debut tonight and have it be revealed. I thought maybe they were going to when he actually showed up, but sadly they didn't. Because, again, if it's Ali and they had him show up here during Money in the Bank where he got fucked over last year by Brock Lesnar, I think it would have been the coolest fucking moment in the world. Sadly, it did not happen. Match number 6, we have the WWE Championship match, Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. Prediction was McIntyre for both. Drew in control, Seth trying to take control, but Drew fights him off. What the hell? No. Drew fights him off, lots of back and forth, sort of slow wrestling, sends Rollins outside. Drew avoiding lots of moves, taking to Seth very fast-paced, hitting big chops and whipping Seth into the corners. Big suplex, chops in the corner. Seth kicks out the knee of McIntyre, keeps his focus on his left knee. Rollins going for quick covers as he focuses on that left knee some more and more. Has an STF in, going from submission to submission. Drew gets the rope and breaks the hold. Seth tells the ref to shut up, hits a suicide dive, sending Drew down again. Dives off the apron with a knee to the face. McIntyre is rocked right now, trying to catch his breath. Diving knee strike off the barricade. Seth sets up on the announce table. Goes for another suicide dive, but he's caught and slammed onto the announce table. Rollins driven in the corner, and then 2 overhead belly-to-bellies. A big boot. McIntyre's in control. Dives down and hits Rollins. Gets kip up. Drew hung up on the ropes. Spinebuster as Drew avoids the knee strike. Rollins attacks the knee. Avoids all of Drew's attacks until Drew drops after an enziguri. Frog splash by Rollins. Seth grabs his best friend, a steel chair, and goes into the ring. Stomps reverse. Glasgow kiss. Drew's taken down up top. Fighting on the ropes, another headbutt. Seth jumps up, superplex / Falcon Arrow combo. Stomps avoided, future shock DDT. Drew is hung up on the top rope. Seth attacks the leg more. Drew with an upside down belly to belly while still in the tree of woe. So he's put in tree of woe, which if you don't know what the tree of woe is, it's when It's when their legs are hung up over the top ropes and they're upside down. He then fucking sit-ups into it, grabs Seth, and overhead bellies. It was a fucking great match moment right there, and I loved it. Claymore kick caught with a super kick. Curb stomp for a 2 count, but barely. Glasgow kiss, super kick, Claymore. McIntyre wins, 11 out of 10. 3-3 for Jesse, 4-2 for me. Great fucking match. Definitely had a lot of close falls and had me and Jesse guessing until the end. Drew holds his hand out for Seth to shake it, and he does. What sportsmanship. Backstage segment with R-Truth. He's looking at a picture and a bit sad, saying he's surprised he beat MVP and that he lost weight. He's a very confusing man. And he says he's going back for the 24/7 championship and says, I'm going to sack you, Tom Brady, because it's R-Truth, and obviously he got it confused. Match number 7, the men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder matches, because they're going on at the same time. The most unique ladder matches, indeed. We have in the women's match, Lacey Evans, Nia Jax, Asuka, Dana Brooke, Shayna Baszler, and Carmella, where we predicted Baszler for both of us. And in the men's match, we have AJ Styles, Aleister Black, Rey Mysterio, Otis, King Corbin, and Daniel Bryan. The prediction was Black for both. Why I'm not going to mention what happened on Raw yet for the WWE Championship stuff is because it's a little bit spoilery for other stuff that's happened after Money in the Bank ladder matches happened. So let's hope this isn't a shit show, because this is going to be so fucking confusing. Asuka's above the women, other women taunting them. The women are starting in the lobby while the men start in the weight room. She dives down onto the other 5 immediately, starts heading up in the elevator as the other women get back to their feet. The men are still just fighting in the weight room. Corbin and Daniel, Black and Ray. Corbin accidentally whips a weight into the mirror. Otis and AJ are fighting at this point as well. Otis lifts a squat bar up and sets it on AJ, and they all leave him behind. Lots of running through a bathroom hall. Brother Love randomly walking out of a bathroom and confusing the fuck out of Rey Mysterio, as well as myself. Corbin calls the elevator, fighting around the doors as they open. They all pile into the elevator, but Ray's a little bit late. The other women marathoning up the stairs, waiting on another elevator, and the guys break out of it. Asuka's hiding, but Shayna sees her and starts chasing her down as she starts to head up the stairs. They're fighting in like this weird ring area type thing, and Black ducks out of there. Otis doing the yes chants as Daniel kicks Corbin, who's hung up in some ropes. Then he throws him into a corner and starts doing the yes kicks to Otis in the corner. And then starts to go back up the stairs. Doink is randomly behind a chair played by God knows who. Carmella is murdered by Nia in a briefing room, as is Dana by Shayna. Shayna starts taking it to Nia. Steel chair takes Nia down. Good job, Dana. There's a briefcase with some money in it. Dana grabs it and thinks she's won, and then stopped by Stephanie. And then Stephanie McMahon comes in and says, that's the wrong briefcase. The Money in the Bank briefcase is on the roof. This is the Money in the Bank conference room. Which I'm like, how the fuck have you watched Money in the Bank before, Dana, and not fucking realize that that's not the right briefcase, you dumb fucking bitch. Mella takes the picture from when she won the Money in the Bank contract and smashes it onto Dana's head. Women's right to the throat of Mella. AJ finally freed looking for Ray. He turns around into a poster of Rey Mysterio. I believe dressed up as Mysterio. He ends up coming face to face with a poster of The Undertaker, and he freezes. He walks into a dimly lit, foggy room with a casket and has flashbacks. Black then kicks him out of nowhere and shuts him into the room and locks him in there. Paul Heyman is then shown eating a very large meal all alone. Then the men and women run in. Dana bumps into him as Otis freaks over the food, and it's time for a food fight, I guess. He tosses a plate into Heyman's face. Shayna, for some reason, starts killing Ray, and then Nia and Otis sandwich Ray. Nia murders Dana after Dana whipped Carmella into her super kick, but then Mella is powerbombed through the table. Otis and Nia are face to face. Otis ends up in the cafeteria. Why am I not surprised? Let me specify. This is the last you're going to be seeing of Carmella and Dana Brooke for the rest of this match. They are done at this point. They both got destroyed at this point, so they're done. I don't know what happens to Shayna, but this is also the last we see of her for the match, if I remember correctly. No, not yet, but close to. John Laurinaitis is there. He screams people power, and then Otis slams a pie into his face. Good job, Otis. Dana slips on a wet floor, and it was perfect. Shayna is tossed... that's the last you'll see of Dana for the night. Shayna is then tossed into a wall by Nia. I believe that's the last we see of her. AJ out of nowhere attacking Black, and then fighting with Daniel. Excuse me. They end up fighting into Vince's office, and he yells at them to get out after they kind of pile into a chair. They both point fingers at each other, and then they fix the chairs and then leave. Vince then uses hand sanitizer and then goes back to working on whatever he was working on. They then fight about who is the bigger coward before starting to fight again. Let me specify. he looks at Daniel and says, wow, you're such a coward. And he's like, me? You're the one who said we should fix the chairs. It's like, I did, didn't I? It was a break from the action. There's a lot of comedic moments in this, and I loved this match from start to finish. It was great. Baron destroying AJ and Daniel in yet another conference room. Asuka and Nia are the first to make it to the ring, then Lacey. These are the only women that make it to the ring. I'm not fucking kidding you. These are the only 3 women out of the match that make it there. Nia goes to grab a ladder after taking them both down. Asuka attacks her to stop her from climbing. Women's right to Nia, and Lacey starts to climb. Asuka stops her as well. Asuka tips the ladder onto Nia's face, which I thought was hilarious. Lacey slams Asuka's face off the ladder repeatedly. Asuka climbs, but Lacey stops her. Well, climbs with her. It was weird. Before Nia starts getting up, and Asuka throws Lacey down onto her. Corbin comes in and climbs. For some reason, tries to stop Asuka. So then she just fucking punches his ass off the ladder. I was fucking happy as hell. And Asuka wins the Women's Money in the Bank 2020 ladder match. 3 and 4 for Jesse, 4 and 3 for me. I thought it was a great way to have that match go. We're not done, obviously, but I'm going to talk about the women's real quick. I thought it was a great way to have that match go, and I really loved it. Now we're going to talk about what happened on Raw pertaining to the Raw Women's Championship / Money in the Bank ladder match. So at the start of the show, Becky Lynch had an announcement to make. This was talked about for weeks on it, for like the last week, that she was going to have an announcement on Raw. She comes out, and she's holding the briefcase for some odd reason. Let me actually go down. I can look at the results. So she comes out. She's got the briefcase. She sets it on the table, grabs the mic, and starts talking. Asuka then comes out. She calls Asuka out because Asuka won. Asuka's like, that's my briefcase. What are you doing with my briefcase? Gets a little bit pissed off about it. And she says, I know you haven't been in this yet because there's a combination. Let me explain what you were actually fighting for. And she opens the briefcase to reveal the Raw Women's Championship. The ladder match actually being for the championship, not for a chance at the championship. Asuka then cheers around saying, I'm the champion for a bit, runs up, dances on the table, runs back into the ring, and looks at Becky. And Becky congratulates her and says, yes, you're very happy, but I don't know if you're happier than me. Take this chance to be a warrior because I'm going to go be a mother. Becky Lynch is pregnant and has relinquished the title to go be a mom. I thought it was an amazing way to have it happen. I'm ecstatic. I can't wait to see this because this is insane to think about. Like, 2 of the biggest stars in WWE right now, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, are about to have a child together, and it's insane to think about. But yeah, congrats to Becky and Seth, and congrats to Asuka. I teared up at this moment. Like, it takes a lot for me to start crying during wrestling, but this one got me. It got me fucking emotional as hell, and just it felt real. It's one of those promos. It's like when Roman announced his leukemia was back. It was one of those real moments. Or when he said he was back in remission. It was like a real moment, and it just kind of hit you hard, and it was like sad to hear about, but like, because like I'm gonna miss Becky Lynch because she's my favorite female superstar, but like I'm also excited as hell because 2 of my favorite superstars are having a kid together, which is just, yeah. We'll talk about more about what happened with Seth and this in a little bit. And everyone congratulated Becky until, like, Drew McIntyre came out. He's the first person to congratulate Seth on becoming a dad. Like, I was like, Jesus Christ, does no one give a fuck about Seth Rollins? All right. Then Otis is in the ring and the ladder breaks on him again, just like on SmackDown. Stupid fucking moment. Corbin attacks him with the ladder, but Otis fights back, hits the Caterpillar. Aleister Black takes Otis down, and then Ray hits Otis with a seated senton. Styles tips the ladder, sending Ray and Aleister into the ropes. Corbin tosses Ray off the roof, and then Black. Well, Jesse and I lost this prediction. Don't worry, guys. They're fine. I'll explain in a minute. Daniel finally shows up and climbs the ladder. Otis and Corbin take Styles and Daniel down. Daniel sent into the ring post. Pele kick to Otis. Styles sent on the apron. Phenomenal forearm to Otis. AJ starts to climb as he's alone. Corbin climbs as well. AJ and Corbin both get the briefcase down together. Elias hits Corbin with a guitar out of fucking nowhere. AJ then fumbles the fucking briefcase and drops it. Otis grabs it and wins the Money in the Bank ladder match. 3 and 5 for Jesse, 4 and 4 for me. I give the matches, the total for these two, a 15 out of 10. Lots of confusing but cool moments between the 2 matches going together, and a shock at the end. Plus, Elias is back, which I'm very happy about. But yeah, I personally, the issue I have with this is the way they ended the men's. It was really fucking stupid in my opinion. Because it's like, if your plan was for Otis to win, why redo the gimmick or the spot of him breaking the fucking rungs on the ladder when he tries to climb? Also, Gordon Perkins had him win this before WWE. Are WWE getting ideas from Gordon Perkins? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, Otis winning this is awesome. I love it. But it's like, also, like, you should have just not had the stupid breaking the rungs on the ladder thing happen. It would have been a lot better, in my opinion. Alright, so let's go back to the Raw now. So obviously we were talking about Becky Lynch revealing she's pregnant and Asuka being the new Raw Women's Champion. We talked about Bobby Lashley beating Humberto Carrillo in a no DQ match by submission. Angel Garza then defeated Akira Tozawa. There was some backstage fighting between them. It seemed like Angel Garza and Austin Theory are having issues. They're butting heads after they like talked shit to each other again. And then Drew McIntyre came out. He faced Andrade in a champion versus champion match, which he won. And then he said he's going to be facing Corbin next week on Raw, as WWE, to boost ratings, is doing a sort of wild card rule type thing. But stars can basically come over, can get invited over to each show to have matches and stuff, so they can hopefully boost the ratings, because, you know, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and some other big names are currently not able to wrestle and not able to compete. Roman's also not just being because of his leukemia, causing obviously a potential issue with the COVID-19 issue right now, but also because his wife just had twin babies recently. They're very newborn. I think it said twin baby girls from what I read, which congrats to Roman. And I'm like, Seth, damn, man. You're getting... Like, I'm like, if Jon Moxley and Renee Young announce that they're pregnant, it's just going to be like a wild fucking year, because that would mean within a year of each other, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Jon Moxley all had a kid, which means female Shield could happen. Like, it could happen, guys. But yeah. Then we have another big thing that happened on Raw. The Iconics have come back to WWE, finally. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross came out for a moment of bliss, and they were about to announce their guests, and you just heard Iconic, and there's some shit talking about, you know, a baby being a bigger moment than them. There's thunder being stolen by that. And then they challenged Bliss and Cross for the titles, but Bliss and Cross said, we don't need to defend the titles right here, right now. So they're like, fine, let's have a match. And the Iconics eventually won the match. They actually won the match and have a match scheduled next week for the titles against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Could we potentially see the second two-time women's tag team champions? Like, shit. Also, I forgot to mention during the segment about Becky Lynch, Asuka is now the second woman to have held the NXT Women's Championship, the SmackDown Raw Women's Championships, and the Women's Tag Team titles in WWE, making her the only other female to hit the Grand Slam, along with Bayley, who was the first. We could technically add the NXT UK Women's Championship into that, but I feel like that one's kind of interchangeable with the NXT Women's Championship in the kind of way that this would work. Obviously, back in the old days with WWE, when they had a lot more titles, they had you could kind of swap titles and let the Grand Slam be hit. There are a few superstars who did hit a full Grand Slam back in the day, like Rob Van Dam, I believe, was one of them. I believe he hit a full Grand Slam. I could be wrong. But yeah, it was interchangeable. Like, there were certain titles, like it could be IC or United States, it could be Hardcore or European, it could be, stuff like that. Then there's the R-Truth match. Rey Mysterio then had a tag match. He actually went to congratulate Seth Rollins backstage on becoming a dad. And they went out to the match. Seth just said nothing. Like, he just walked away. And Ray went, what a dick. I was like, wow, what a dick. And then Ray's just like, what a dick. I was like, if you guys don't know, I occasionally randomly call a line without really trying to, and it's always shocking. But then they had the match. Seth was just catatonic. He was just on the apron like this, like the whole match. And then he accidentally gets hit by Ray. Seth loses it. Stabs the ring step in the corner of the ring step into, like, he slams him down, and the ref calls for the bell. Like, the second Seth grabs Ray after getting hit down and slams him, the ref calls for the bell. So yeah, Ray and Alistair won by DQ. But yeah, it was really dumb. And then backstage, he went to go apologize. Aleister attacked, and then Murphy and Rollins attacked. Murphy attacked Aleister Black, and Seth went chase after Ray. Street Profits defeated the Viking Raiders in a 74-2 basketball game and then showed that they let them win. Shayna Baszler, after making some very distasteful comments about Becky Lynch's pregnancy, saying the kid's gonna suck. I mean, do you see the father is? And then said, Natalya, the Hart Dynasty dies with you, saying she's never gonna be a mom. Defeated Natalya in a match. And then Randy Orton challenged Edge to a straight up 100% wrestling match at Backlash. To really definitively tell who the better wrestler is between the two of them. Yeah, and that's the end of the show. I thought Raw was really great. The Raw after Money in the Bank was really good. Usually, obviously, we're used to seeing cash-ins on the Raw after, or on the show after, but, you know, with the men's being on SmackDown and the women's having been for the title, there was no cash-in. I'm excited to see where SmackDown is going to be going this Friday, especially with Otis as Mr. Money in the Bank. He did say, yo, Mandy, I did it afterwards, so maybe Mandy's going to become more of his manager now at this point, and I'm going to really enjoy this. I'm excited to see where Otis goes with it. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Stay golden. Peace.